All right, what's up everybody? Another round of ranch fairy tuning, but today, instead of doing compound bows, we're gonna try this stuff with a crossbow. So I got my buddies here, Nick and Chad. Nick's wrapping up a little bit of tuning with his bow, and then we're gonna get started on the crossbow, so stay with us. All right, so the bow that we're gonna be tuning is the Killer Instinct Ripper 415. It's currently set up with Killer Tech bolts, 100 grain field point. I don't exactly know what they weigh, but we're gonna weigh them here in a minute. This bow is advertised at 415 feet per second, but if I go off of my Lumix speed ring scope, my standard setup right now is shooting right about 400 feet per second. All right, so the bolt that Killer Instinct Ripper 415 is currently set up for, running right about that 400 feet per second. If you go off the speed ring on the scope, is a Killer Tech 9 grains per inch bolt. It's got a 100 grain point in it, and it is 25.3 grams, which we calculated to be 390 grains total. What we're going to, though, do our tuning with is a Carbon Express Piledriver. That bolt is 448 grains. But we're going to start by knock tuning, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to knock tune fletched. So we're just going to see which of the 3 fletching positions shoot the best, and then go from there with weight. All right, so Chad's first shot, it's like a little knock low. All right, so here's the 3. They're all knock low, but we were just talking, and these look like they're tearing just a little bit. You know, this one going right with the fletching, that tears a little bigger than that one. And then on the third shot, going left, this tears a little bit bigger than that one. So this one is the cleanest, which was the original position with the odd feather down. So we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna start adding weight from there. All right, so we got it back to odd feather down. That was one we liked. We've got 200 grain FX up front now. All right, so we reshot the 200 grain head twice. There's something I want to show you guys. So the first one was this one right here, and we looked at that, and this is the worst tear that we've had so far today. We reshot it again, and it's almost a perfect bullet hole. And I'm going to show you guys what we did. All right, so Chad's going to line up. We don't have a bolt or anything on the bow. What he was doing, which is perfectly natural, is, you know, our target it's tilted a little bit. So in his aiming, he was trying to match the angle of the target. And what he was doing is he was tilting the bow sideways just a little bit. Your crossbow is shooting an arc. If you tilt your bow limbs, it's going to shoot that arc a little bit left to right, depending on how you're tilting your limbs. So what I ended up doing is, I mean, we're just resting on a bar stool here. This is nothing too scientific, but I had him put his safety on. We took the bolt off, and I just stuck a level on the top of the limbs, and Chad just kind of readjusted, you know, how he needs to look through the scope, get the bow right to be level. And then we reshot that exact same setup again, and it was pretty much perfect. So here's just another point really quick, you guys. So what Chad just asked me to do, just to help him. So we've got the bow level here, and we just checked this. So I could have, you know, taken our paper stake out and stuff. Instead of doing that, I put another shaft, just an old arrow shaft, right next to the paper, and we checked that with the level, just to give Chad something that is straight up and down level to line the reticle of the sight up with. So we just put this in the ground, checked it. Chad lined up the scope, and we put the level on it. Looks good, so we should be good as far as limb level and stuff from here on out. All right, moving up to the 225. All right, guys, that's it. That is the entire Ranch Fairy test pack from 200 to 300 grains with that Piledriver bolt. So the 300, I mean, I don't even know if this tear would be bigger. It tore all the way to the bottom of the paper. So 200, definitely the sweet spot. All right, biggest takeaway is making sure your bow limbs are level. I don't really care what you guys use as a reference point, but definitely use something as a reference point with your reticle to make sure your bow is level, square, whatever you want to call it. That was a huge difference. You guys saw that with that 200 grain head. We shot it unlevel accidentally, and it made a big difference in how it teared. And then when we checked the level on the bow, and then we also set up a reference point for Chad to shoot level, big difference. That ended up being the, the point weight that we're going with. You just don't want to chase another variable, so make sure you have something, some reference point to make sure your bow's level. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the 200 point back on. We're going to resight this Killer Instinct crossbow in for that, and I guess show you the difference in speed on the speed ring on the scope. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for tonight. We are done doing the Ranch Fairy crossbow bolt tuning for this Ripper 415. Again, Piledriver bolts with 200 grains up front, just about 550 grains total. Got this thing sighted in out to 50 yards, and according to the speed ring scope, we're running about 330 feet per second. So I hope you enjoyed. Next up will be broadheads with this, so stay tuned. Remember, be a sportsman, make a sportsman.